One thing that I reflected on as I was listening to some of the greatest Americans that I've had the privilege to know, and they're on this stage right this minute. As I reflected on leadership, the chairman of this organization, Dr. Preston Moon, often says as he gathers the leaders of this organization, the Global Peace Foundation, during quarterly meetings and other meetings, one of the things that he states over and over is that you cannot lead from behind. When we started this morning, I looked at each of you and I said that in my mind and in my heart, you are the hope for America. And you didn't come here for a leadership development program. You came here as leaders in your communities, in your states, in your endeavors, and in this country. Gail asked the same question that I said this morning was a reframing of our theme. She asked you, and you answered it. Can we lead our nation to fulfill its founding ideals? And the answer that I heard from you this evening just a couple minutes ago was yes. I'm a very proud African American. I grew up in the South. I grew up during that civil rights era that's been referenced here today. My grandparents raised me. I didn't have a father in the home. I had an opportunity, however, to appreciate and understand what the impact of religion was on the life of my grandparents, on my life, and on the life of my community. We are in a situation where we need a new awakening in this country. Our brother Kevin McCarthy showed us a couple references to two great awakenings in this country. We need a new awakening in our country today. As some of us reflect in this room, some of us may say in our minds that those founders, those powdered wigs, I don't think they really represented us. Some of us might say that in this room. Of course, we heard Dr. Soares give us another perspective about the ideal versus the heritage. But I want to make a couple references for you in here. Some of you are aware of this. During the Revolutionary War of this country, there were incredibly valorous and courageous soldiers that fought on the front line that were black African Americans. They shed their blood, and not only did they fight valiantly, but they won victory after victory as they carried those muskets and pulled out those swords to confront the enemy. They didn't get a lot of credit for it along the way. But one of those soldiers that I'm reflecting on in my mind became a preacher. And he became an incredible American of that era. Later, during one of the Great Awakening periods, again, Kevin referenced George Whitefield, who gathered thousands out in fields as a result of his reaching out. There was a black man that heard him preach and responded and became one of the greatest preachers during that second Great Awakening, and in fact was able to bring crowds larger than the crowds that George Whitefield himself could bring together. And that preacher was a central part of the Great Awakening of this country. This is not about race. This is not about religion. This is not about culture. This is not about nationality. This is about the fact that we must now. You were brought here for this special time. I truly believe this in my heart, to be the leaders that will go forth from here to initiate the next Great Awakening. We've been given some very practical approaches right here on this stage today. Certainly, you could go to each one of these individuals, and some didn't talk about the kinds of programs that they're involved with, but they're involved with some incredible things. Certainly what we heard from Bob Woodson on this stage, that allows hopeless people that are beyond the downtrodden to rise up and to rise with a statue, to establish businesses and hope for their communities, to go from violence and degradation to esteem within their lives of their families. This is real. The Global Peace Foundation operates through a partnership model. The point that Bob made about parachuting in a certain community and becoming a prescription for a solution is something we take very dearly. As we operate around the world in now 20 different countries, it's a partnership model. We try to bring tools, we try to bring those that have a foundation of success that we already work with. That's what we try to bring in every community that we come to. But guess what? We don't come anywhere without being invited. We don't come anywhere as an organization without being invited. But once we do, we come in partnership with those that are there. And that's what I want to present before us in this room today. You are our partners. And we want now to begin to expand this very work, the projects, some of which you see in this program that you see today, that the USA chapter has initiative right here in the country. We have individuals in the room that are directors of some of these projects. Like, of course, Dr. Murray is the executive director of the Coalition for American Renewal, a faith-based oriented initiative with faith leadership. We also have the Safe Haven campaign that confronts human trafficking. Gail Hamilton is the director of that program. We have Strengthening Families and Communities Coalition. Quite a number of you in this room are involved with that. Diane Dawson is the national director of that program, right in this room. We have the Global Peace Youth Program. Kimihira Miyake, who's also in this room, is the director of that program. We ask that we extend ourselves in partnership. We don't want to bring any of these programs or any of these projects in and say, come and this is your program. This is what you do to solve your issues. No, we come in with a program only to partner with the other organizations that you are part of already. It's a partnership model. I'm asking that those in this room, I have asked Tony Scazzaro over here. Tony, if you will have these passed around to those that would hold them and take them seriously to take home with you, to decide whether this is a part of a partnership that you can feel like you can use as a doorway in to our extended work. You'll find here a toolkit, you'll find information that can be used in this partnership development where we can continue to work with the Center for Neighborhood Enterprise with Bob Woodson, where we can continue to work with our fatherhood and prison reentry programs with Dr. Trullier, where we can work with our sustained dialogue and our international work connected with Dr. Patton that's on this panel, and where we can work together through the incredible organizations that you're already working with, such as those that are in Philadelphia with Bilal Qayyum, such as Atlanta, the many times that I heard those discussions going on in today related to the Atlanta projects, such as those that are initiated by the Nation of Islam all over the country. All of these programs, such as Hey Pen M and the Korean churches that she has initiated out in California that are now nationwide, such as all the opportunities, and I can go on to talk about each of your projects, and the International Center for Religion and Diplomacy. These are all efforts that are making a difference. It's a partnership model. It's a partnership model. Let us work together. Today in our sessions, we talked about faith in action, we talked about family values, and we talked about civil service that make a difference in our country. And I was a part of the Family Values Program where we asked those in the room to give us strategy, because we don't have the answers. Give us strategy as to how we can move forward to make a difference, to resolve confusion out of this lack of consensus in our society. Give us a strategic way forward. And they responded today, within a very few minutes, came up with some very rich and significant ideas. We will take those ideas. We need your ideas. And if we can work together, if we can move the spirit of conscience that we were reminded of today, the spirit of conscience that can revitalize the foundation of our nation, we can make a real difference in this society. And I thank you, and I really believe in the depth of my heart that you are the solution and you are the hope for America. Thank you so much.